Welcome to In Layman's Terms. I recently purchased the Yamaha RX-A6A receiver and the 10-inch JL Audio E110 subwoofer. For today's video, I would like to give a brief explanation about my experience with the Yamaha receiver, go over what I like about it, and also what I dislike. At the time of recording this video, the date is the 5th of February and the current firmware available is 1.22. Both the 10-inch sub and the receiver are both reassuringly very heavy, which generally in my mind indicates good build quality and components. From the initial unboxing, I can tell you that first impressions do last. In my opinion, the receiver is just gorgeous with its black mirror-like finish and its monolithic presence. It's much more attractive in the flesh than on video, believe me. The tech nerd in me loves the fact that it has a total of 7 HDMI 2.1 ports. I'll circle back around to the 2.1 part a bit later in the video. A few years ago, people would say 4 HDMI ports were more than enough, but in today's world, you do fill them up quite easily. For me, I use up all 7 ports, which includes my Xbox Series X, my PS5 online, PS5 offline, Apple TV 4K, Google TV with Chromecast, Nintendo Switch, and Pay TV. So let's get to the crux of this video. Remember when I mentioned the HDMI 2.1 part earlier? That comes with a big asterisk next to it, meaning they will enable the 2.1 part in a later to be determined, vague, non-communicated date firmware update. The best information I have been able to find was by going through the AV Forums owners thread, where the other owners are piecing bits of information together to try and understand when we can expect an update. As I'm fortunate enough to own a Samsung QN900A, which has a total of 4 HDMI 2.1 ports, so for the moment it's not a major issue, but I really would like to get all my devices going through the receiver. What I do like about this receiver, well, the list is unfortunately brief. While I'm no expert, I believe I have a reasonable speaker setup. The front left and right speakers are Bowers & Wilkins 704 S2s, both powered by an external Marantz MM7025 amplifier. The center channel is a Bowers & Wilkins HTM6 S2, the rears are Bowers & Wilkins 607 S2, and the downward firing Atmos speakers are 4 8-inch Yamaha NS-IC800s, which gives me a total of 5.1.4 Atmos setup. The sound out of this system is very impressive. However, as I am new to home theater and this is my first proper setup, it is difficult to determine exactly where the setup shines. Is it the receiver? Is it the amplifier? Or is it the speakers? In addition, the wipeout calibration process was quite simple and I could definitely hear the difference once it had been correctly calibrated. So this is where this list ends. And on to the next section. Let's not call it dislikes, let's call it frustrations. The absent HDMI 2.1 features such as quick media switching, auto low latency mode, quick frame transport, and the most important, variable refresh rate. For someone like me who is a gamer, this is the reason I purchased the receiver. What terrifies me the most is that on the AV forums, a member posted a response email they received from Yamaha concerning these issues. The reply from Yamaha stated a firmware update should be released within the first quarter of 2022 to enable 4K 120 pass-through. However, the update will omit QMS, QFT, ALLM, and VRR. So that basically means anyone with a HDMI 2.1 capable TV that supports 4K 120 with VRR won't be happy, and who knows when the future update will be released to add the remaining promised functionality. I am aware that the following list of frustrations are teething issues and will most likely be remedied with a future firmware update. However, the first and main issue is that I constantly experience enhanced audio return channel issues. The sound will just stop working and I will need to go into the TV settings and mess around with them several times just to get the sound working again. HDMI CEC issues where I'm constantly fighting the input selector. 50% of the time, the trigger for my external amplifier just doesn't work. No signal issues when changing modes on a device, such as activating high dynamic range. Considerable delay in the sound after activating Dolby Atmos for games on my Xbox. Last but not least, and this could be a me issue, the online firmware update via the receiver's UI has never worked. It simply says not available, and this was before and after the latest firmware update, essentially meaning I have to manually check the website every few weeks and manually apply the update via a USB thumb drive. So there you have it. I wouldn't call this a negative review at all. It's an observational discussion. I am very happy with the device. It screams loud enough when I want to annoy my neighbors, and it hasn't placed me in a situation that I couldn't work around. With that being said, for the non-tech savvy individuals, this can be a deal breaker. I often find my partner giving up trying to use the system when I'm not home because it just doesn't work when you try to turn it on. Between the external amp not powering up or HDMI CEC not doing what it's supposed to, my partner will often tell me it's just too hard to get working and they will go into another room to watch a movie. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is what really frustrates me. When someone spends a lot of time and money creating such a room and it doesn't get used because of a minor issue or bug, that to me is the problem. You're not always going to be home to get things working for your friends and family, and you shouldn't have to be. I will make a follow-up to this video in the coming weeks or months as the firmware updates trickle out, and I hope I can provide some more promising comments. But for now, thanks for watching.